Greetings. This will be a video regarding a major volcanic eruption that took place around 1453. This was one of the three largest volcanic eruptions in recent history. I've done a previous video on the Samalas volcano, the mega eruption of 1257, and also the Mount Tambora eruption of 1815. Now, we can see by the massive sulfate spikes registered in the polar regions, another significant volcanic eruption took place in 1453, estimated to be around that time frame, and the Kuwae volcano located in the Vanuatu region. It is theorised that the Kuwae volcano erupted in such a way that it completely obliterated the island of Epi, forming a gap in between where the island once was. Instead of being one island, it's now two islands. The second island just to the eastern side, the Tangaroa Island, and the gap in the middle, the caldera of the Kuwae volcano, now a submarine volcano just beneath the ocean surface. As we can see, these major sulfate spikes all registered after major volcanic eruptions. The Samalas volcano and devastating volcanic eruption of 1259, a major event. We can see the Tambora volcano arrowed, and the Kuwae volcano even stronger than the Mount Tambora. Now, two of these volcanoes already registered as a year without a summer, so we can conclude that the Kuwae volcanic eruption had similar consequences felt globally. Now, there are quite a few volcanoes across the Vanuatu region. The Kuwae volcano is the south in this image, and the north volcano above is the Ambae volcano, which is currently active and in the news just recently. So just looking at the Astro-Carto-Graphy software to determine how this previous volcanic eruption took place in Kuwae, and also explains the potential activity for the Ambae volcano and a potential future event that may be activating another volcano across Vanuatu in the coming years. Now, this volcano erupted around the 1450s, estimated at 1453. Interestingly, we have a very significant planetary station of Neptune just to the eastern side of the volcano caldera. Note that we have Mars configured into the lunar nodes at trine aspect at the same time of this station, and there were quite a lot of other planetary stations around the volcano as well. We have Venus, Saturn and Jupiter all having stations in the years preceding the major volcanic event. Now, the most recent eruption for the Kuwae volcano was in 1974, so going back with Astro-Carto-Graphy, I found something quite powerful that it took place late 1965 into 1966. And we can see above we have Pluto and Uranus about to form a series of conjunctions and about to move retrograde, and opposing that we have Saturn. So we can see the configurations on the chart. We're not going to animate the software, we're going to watch these motions moving across. So there's the first conjunction. Both planets will now station simultaneously and turn back retrograde, and Pluto's right on the volcano caldera as it does so. Then both planets will make another conjunction, and we're going to see Saturn move through and make a connection with both planets. So this is an opposition with Saturn and Mars. Mars is coming through right now with Saturn. So we get this amazing configuration of the planets. Above we have Pluto and Uranus, and below we have Saturn and Mars. So this is a quite spectacular sort of celestial interactions taking place. Both planets are now stationed and now turning back in their normal motion, about to move back across. And Uranus leads the way with Pluto in behind. So we can see some very interesting geometries. Note that both planets are forming a perfect interaction with the lunar nodes with Neptune. So this is extremely, and Venus is also joining the party with a connection right over the volcano. So we can see that there's quite a lot of activity across the volcano in the years preceding the eruption of 1974. We're now looking at 1966 a little bit more closely, as it reveals an amazing series of planetary events taking place. And we can see initially with the chart, the Sun is squaring both lunar nodes. We have a station Jupiter and Venus. Jupiter is connecting into the planetary alignment of Saturn and Uranus, forming a T-square. We have Venus connecting into the lunar nodes at trine. And we're going to see Uranus and Pluto moving back retrograde across Vanuatu, while we have Mars and Saturn moving back in their normal motion across to make a series of connections. We get the opposition between Saturn and Pluto initially, And then the next few days we get Mars making a conjunction with Saturn. So the Mars-Saturn connection is synonymous with volcanic eruptions, and we get it showing itself again just to the western side of the volcano. And we get to see a series of oppositions between Mars and Saturn connecting into Pluto and Uranus. And then we get Uranus slowly moving through to make another connection with Pluto just to the western side. So we can see an amazing series of planetary connections all involved into the nodes. And we're starting to see Neptune having an influence connecting into the node in the coming year as well. So there's a lot going on with the chart, and this is an amazing series of planetary connections taking place just prior to a volcanic eruption, in this case 8 years prior to the volcano blowing. This is the eruption date in February of 1974, and we can see some powerful geometries taking place above. We have Uranus at station while connecting into Saturn, and that's a very strong trine aspect. Importantly, Jupiter's moving through to make a grand trine with both planets, as both Uranus and Saturn will be stationing in the coming week. So a very strong geometry. Note the lunar node has just been moving through the Vanuatu region in retrograde motion. That's the descending node and ascending node moving across the region. So we can see that there's a lot taking place, and a very interesting geometry at the time of the volcanic eruption and the preceding events that took place in 1966. Now, the Vanuatu region has been quite active in terms of volcanic activity over the last 10 to 12 years. We go back to 2007, we see a major planetary station of Uranus about to make two stations in 2007 and 2008, very close to these volcanoes across Vanuatu. Note that Jupiter is connecting into the lunar node while the station of Uranus is taking place, and very powerful planetary opposition of Neptune and Saturn taking place at this time, which is quite important. Saturn and Uranus makes an opposition. We note the chart with the Sun squaring the lunar nodes. We also have Venus connecting into that planetary alignment of Uranus and Saturn. So there's a lot going on in 2007 and 2008, which may explain some volcanic activity in the following years. And the second station of Uranus is also quite powerful in the month of November of 2008, also marking this volcano and the region of Vanuatu. Now moving ahead to 2019 and take a look what we have here. Neptune is forming a station just to the eastern side of the volcano caldera. We get major planetary alignments. We get a connection and conjunction of Mercury and Mars taking place. And importantly, Jupiter is opposing Venus at the same time. Now at this station we have Neptune connecting into the lunar node at 18 degrees at trine, and Saturn is conjoining the south node perfectly at 18 degrees. So that's an amazing time frame. Now moving ahead to 2021, and this is where it goes to a whole new level. As Neptune's moving back across the region, and it's perfectly aligned with the volcano caldera of Kuwae, it forms a perfect square into the lunar node as it does so. At the same time, Jupiter and Saturn have just gone through their conjunction a month prior. We have Mercury making an alignment with Pluto. Venus is connecting into Mars, and we have a conjunction of Uranus and Lilith just taking place at the same time. So we can see that there's some very interesting symmetry with Neptune forming a trine into the lunar node, then forming a square into the lunar node. And in 2024 we get a station of Saturn very close to the previous position of Neptune, just further to the east. And the Sun is connecting at square aspect into the lunar nodes at the time of this station. So there's a lot going on in 2019, 2021 and also in 2024 for the Vanuatu region. We're now looking at September of 2025, and this is where we see some amazing symmetry tying back into the previous eruption of the 1400s. We see that Jupiter and Lilith are forming a trine aspect while connecting into the lunar node. We can see them very close just to the western side of the volcano caldera. We have Mars connecting at square aspect with Jupiter. But importantly, if we have a look at stationing Uranus while connecting into Pluto. Now remember, the Uranus and Pluto connections were featured prior to the major volcanic eruption in the 1400s. Now looking at a few more frames which may see further activity across the region. In February of 2027 we get to see some very significant geometry. Jupiter connects with the south node in conjunction. We have an opposition of Mercury and Mars, which is fast moving, but importantly they are at square aspect forming a T-square with Uranus. So that's a powerful time frame. Note that we have Earth, Mercury, Sun just gone through their planetary alignment as well. Then we get a station of Jupiter in May of 2028, which is quite powerful, this time to the western side of the volcano. Note the square aspects of Mercury and Venus very close by, forming a very important enhancement. So just using Astro-Carto-Graphy, it does seem that the Jupiter station of 2028 could be highly significant for the Vanuatu region, and we may see some further activity and a potential major volcanic eruption. Now, the Ambae volcano has been very active in 2026. It's already been in the news for a significant volcanic eruption, but there may be one even larger coming post-2028, and the Jupiter station. As we can see, the Jupiter station in May of 2028 is focused very close, just to the western side of the volcano. And note the very strong square aspect into the lunar nodes of the Sun, as well as the square aspect of Venus, which is just stationed just prior to the connection and station of Jupiter. And that concludes this video presentation regarding the Kuwae Volcanic Eruption of 1453 and future volcanic activity for potentially the Ambae volcano in the years ahead. I'll leave some footage of the Ambae Volcanic Eruption of 2026, and more information can be found at earthsignals.com. Thanks for watching.